Hey guys, DJ, Guildmaster was Women Gamers Guild. Uh, Bringing one of the first in a series of videos, as you've seen the primer, of getting into tabletop on a budget. Now, whether it's you're a new to wargaming or experienced wargamer looking for something different, we're trying to put together a video series of affordable alternatives to traditional tabletops. And what I mean by traditional, I'm pointing at you, Games Workshop. You're the pinnacle and stuff's super expensive. Not only that, we know people are hurting right now, everything going on in the world. And if you still want to get into gaming, you're not locked out of it, is what we're trying to say. So what we're going over today is one of the games, one that I've gotten back into recently. I was into it a long time ago, so I have already a decent collection. But I've finally been able to actually start getting out there and playing it again, and that is Team Yankee. Basically, it's World War III. Quick synopsis: it's Cold War. Big forces in Europe of Russians and Americans. Russia's collapsing. They need to help boost their economy. What boosts the economy? As anyone in history knows, war. War really boosts your economy for a while until you start losing, and then, well, your economy's tanked. But that was their philosophy. They invaded Eastern Europe, or excuse me, Western Europe. So this is it's a pretty fun game. Lore-wise, there's all kinds of stuff about post-apocalyptic, everything. What's nice about this game is very simple. It's more modern. You know what I mean? Like, you'll recognize stuff. You'll definitely recognize vehicles, tanks, and there's no like really crazy wonder weapons. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing like odd. And what drawed me into it as well is prior military, seeing the vehicles. I've been in a lot of these vehicles, so I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome. I can field 113s again that I end up driving in real life, like overseas. It's pretty awesome. With that aside, though, you can use these miniatures in a lot of games. Twilight 2000 comes to mind. Any sort of like other rule set. So what we're going to do, we're going to get into the meat of this. We're going to have basically how much for a decent model count. The game plays at 100 points. And we'll give you the basics just for painting and stuff. And then we have like a little bling section, extra stuff you can add on to what you need later. But the starter right now, a lot of stuff has gone up in price since the recording of this, or starting the recording of this. The starter is $60. Now, it was $50, but it's $60. It comes with two forces, an American force and a Soviet force. And both forces are actually, as you can see on there, you get a lot of stuff in there. The Soviet force, I believe, is like 42 or 43 points. The Americans, 41 points. And there's a little bit of wiggle room for adding points up or down. What we're doing for this, we're going to focus on the Americans, and we're going to use this as the core of the army we're going to try to put together on a budget. Now, granted, this army's not going to be fantastic. It will have a couple different units in it besides what's in the box set. It will be fun, but more importantly, it'll get you into the game on a budget, and then you can start adding stuff over time to it. Or if it's something that you don't like, you're really not all that much money. Now, obviously, the first thing that comes to a lot of folks' mind is, well, if it's 42 points, the game plays at 100. I'll just buy two starter boxes, slap both Americans together or both Soviets together. There's my army, and that's perfectly reasonable to do. What's nice about it is the two example forces they give you can be scaled up. It gives you options to actually scale them up. So it's not going to be like, well, I'll run two Zulu forces. No, you can actually scale them up. What comes in that, besides the miniatures, you'll get like 3 Abrams, you'll get 2 M60s, and 2 Bradleys. The Bradleys are a scout section which you use for spearheading. But it comes with their small rule book, which is pretty nice. It also comes with a primer with like a set mission, some ideas, and it actually gives you, like in this case the Soviets, it gives you a breakdown of what the force is and how to scale it up. And it's a good launching off point. Also, it comes with, if you would actually cut the box apart, it comes with tokens, which you use out of the box. Comes with objectives. It comes with 2 sets of dice. Red set for Russians, blue for Americans. Pretty simple. Comes with some decals. It also comes with, for both sides, these unit cards, which are pretty nice. And we'll get into these in a second. But it comes with a basic generic unit cards. So, since we bought this, okay, we're already at $60. So, one of the first things you're going to end up picking up for this force, actually, like every other wargamer knows, you're going to pick up the book, the codex, so to speak. This is the Americans. This is still going for $20. It has all the current listings and lists. You can do anything from 82nd Airborne, tanks, the whole 9 yards. Marines are in this. The reason I suggest everyone gets this, if you don't want to go out and purchase more unit cards, they're in this book. You can just photocopy them out of there. It has a little bit of fluff in there, and also it has some painting stuff in the back. It has some ideas, some painting stuff. Also a couple missions in the back of this book. It's $20. You could probably get around not having this, but I'll be honest, Battle Scribe, like most folks are going to be thinking, as good as it is, it's very limiting. It's always good to have a physical book, I feel. But that's $20. Okay? Now, once we have the book, we're going to go ahead. We're going to start adding some units to this. Now, some of these units I don't have with me. One of them I actually do. And that is the M163 valves or the 9013 kit. This is $40 right now. But what this does, this allows us to add anti-aircraft to the Army and also either an anti-tank asset. What's really cool about this, if you find the older sets of these, you can actually build all 4 variants of the 113. You can build the anti-aircraft asset, which is the Val 163. You can build hammerheads, they call the 901, which is basically, think of a 113 with this like armature that stands up and fires tow missiles. Pretty awesome. Okay. The other variant, you can build straight tracks, 113s for infantry. So if you want to add mechanized infantry to this, you already have the vehicles. Now, as far as magnetizing them, they're a little bit wonky, especially with the Val 163, because they use a different top plate, and also you have these giant ammo hoppers that glue onto the side. Now, in your gaming group, I'm sure you could kind of finagle it and get away with it. And most folks ain't going to say nothing if you're really trying to stretch it out. But it's just an idea. The older sets, you can actually build the 1064 mortar track. That's what I was in the National Guard. But basically, you put a track platoon in there. It gives you an artillery asset, so to speak, with a spotter. Because in Team Yankee, they run their mortars in sets of 3 with 1 FO track. So this comes with 4. So you can actually build that. But right now what Battlefront's been doing, they've really been separating the kits. Like the one is the 113 in track, or traction. If I keep saying track, it's because we refer to them in the military, we call them tracks. The 1064 mortar track and the 113, the troop transport. And then this other set is either the hammerheads or the 136s. What we're going to do for this budget build for 100 points, we're only going to add in 2 Val 136s at 3 points. Okay? You can up your points up or down, but we'll add that in there. The next thing that you can purchase is a box set of Abrams. It's $50. You get 5 tanks. Now, what's nice about this, the Abrams super tough, but you can add another formation into your army. The one thing you will find out playing Team Yankee, it's good to have 2 formations. The reason is if one formation would happen to break, you still have 1 left to keep you in the fight. If you have 1 formation that's massive and it breaks, the game automatically ends immediately. When we do more videos, we'll get more into the rules and stuff, because I'm just getting back into it myself. But you can take those and add another Abrams formation to your army. That's 2 platoons of 2 Abrams and 1 command Abram. So all 5 tanks can turn into 1 formation. That's $50, and that ends up coming out to I think almost 30 some, almost 40 points. So you add that in there already. And one of the last things you can really pick up to add to this to round it out, and they've just come out with plastic variants now, is A10 Warthogs. Everyone knows it from the first Gulf War. Everyone knows it from overseas warfare. Veterans love it. I love it. It's a great machine. It's a hell of a tank buster. What's cool in Team Yankee, you can get two of them for $35, which is super cheap. They're 10 points. So right there, they're 1/10 of your army. But they're super resilient. They have a 3-up aircraft save, so they're really tough to take down. They have anti-helicopter assets. They have Mavericks, which is what they mostly use for tank busting, as opposed to the Avenger Gatling. They can vaporize any tank in the game. They have cluster munitions. They're an all-around good aircraft, good strike aircraft. But once you add that in there, we're going to be at 99 points. There's almost our 100, which is really awesome. You've only had to buy 3 additional boxes and a rule book with the starter. You know what I mean? You could definitely do that fairly easy on a budget. Cost-wise now, we're at $210. Which really, really good for getting 100 points. And what's nice is there's enough wiggle room with the 2 extra vehicles in here, and you can up your points up or down. You could use maybe the Abrams A1 M1A1s, or you can do the M1's HCs, which are basically like more up armored versions of the Abrams. So you can do a lot of that cool stuff. Now, once we've got that out of the way, we're going to go into modeling and painting now. The one thing you're going to find with these games as opposed to more fantasy-esque or sci-fi-esque games, since they're based more historical, I feel they have a higher hobby level because you just can't paint your Abrams bright green. I mean, you really could if you wanted to, but it's just not going to look appeasing on the battlefield, let's be honest. You're going to want to try to paint them camouflage. Or like you'll do like a desert tone, which is just one color, or when they first came out, just like a flat green color. Stuff like that. So the things you can do to help you with that, one thing I suggest getting for everything, even though this book comes with a painting guide, the one thing Battlefront has put out in conjunction with Vallejo Paints, which is who they use, is Colors of War. What's really cool about this book is $25, but it gives you painting stuff like how-tos and like color palettes and everything for Team Yankee and Flames of War. The next video we're going to do is Flames of War, and that's obviously World War II. But they give you everything, like different eras, different years. They just give, it's a wonderful book. It gives you all these how-tos, how to paint tracks, infantry schemes. What you'll find with a book like this, it's a one-stop shop because you can use this in a lot of other games. You can use it in Bolt Action. You can use it in other historical games. I do suggest getting this. It's more of a bling item, but I feel you're going to appreciate it more when you start painting like this budget force. So that's going to be like $25. So we'll end up picking that up. Next thing, obviously, you're going to pick up. You can use super glue or plastic glue. I prefer, Citadel plastic glue. I like stuff melting together. Once you get used to it, it's got a metal applicator. So that's like $8. Whatever glue you want to use. Okay? If your hobby shop doesn't carry one, what? $2 X-Acto knife. Now, the one thing I do suggest from Battlefront, and you can do all kinds of other things, they sell painting sets. Now, what's nice about these painting sets is they're $30, which is still is pretty reasonable. It comes with like 8-ounce paint squeezers, but it comes with all the paints necessary to paint your vehicles and/or infantry. So once you say you want to get bigger force, you want to start adding infantry to your Team Yankee army, you'll have the paints to do it. It's fairly good paints. Vallejo paints, very good. So once you add that in there, we're looking what, a little bit over $300. Figure 30, 25. That's like $70 worth of stuff. We're looking at $280 just to get the basics for painting, basics for modeling, and say you do add infantry to your force. Well, one thing that you can pick up for usually $10 or so is basing flock. You can buy it about anywhere, model train shops, whatever. This particular one cost me $8. And it's a static or grass. I use it as of lately for a lot of stuff. I've used it for historicals, like my Germanians. I've used it for obviously Team Yankee Germans. I've used it for Flames of War Germans. I've used it for bolt action. It's a dime a dozen. And if we're going to go that route, well, I was way off camera. Gorilla Glue, just glue to help glue it onto the base. These two items you really don't need right yet if you're not going to add infantry to the force. So once you've done all that, you're still looking a little, almost $300 just to get you into the basics of the game. You can go up from there. You can add like the specialty dice, the actual tokens, objective markers. There's a lot of other stuff you can add to it. Probably one of the first bling items I would add, honestly, is these card packs. These are still going for 20 bucks. Remember the cards, the few cards that you get in the starter? Well, this has all the cards for your force you're going to play with. So as of right now, every American unit that's available, it's in a card pack. And there's multiples, especially there's like 3 or 4 Abrams, 3 or 4 mech platoons. And what's kind of cool with this, instead of you like getting on your phone or just reading, you can start pulling out these cards and you can like slap together a force with these cards fairly easily. Doesn't take a lot of time at all. And it's good too just for like housekeeping. Say you're referring to your list all the time, or okay, what's this do? Well, these cards have everything. They have your movement. They even have like your special rules, their point costs. Like everything you need is on this card. Yeah, you can do the same thing in the index card, but these are just really nice. You know what I mean? They're affordable. But say you do want to get other bling stuff, you can get an artillery template. Okay, move this out of the way. You can get an artillery template. If you start getting artillery, it's like 20 some bucks. You know what I mean? You have salvo and you have your regular templates. But once you've gotten all this and you keep moving on, Battle Foam makes good army cases. It's like 150 bucks usually, and you can use that to store your army in, transport them around. So you can just exponentially go up from there. You have the specialty dice and everything. You can get all those kind of things. But if that stuff doesn't grab your fancy right off the bat, don't worry about it. Or you can always build up into that. This was just a video trying to show you that, yeah, you can get into a different game on a budget. That's really all I have for this. It's pretty basic and simple. And like I said, this army list idea was by no means optimal. It just gives you some stuff to play around with. Could you buy 2 things, slap them together? Absolutely. But if you want to add a couple different units, there's some suggestions I threw out there. And you might just totally change it up. Like as far as Soviets go, they're a little bit more of a horde army, so you'll have to buy a few more things. Americans are more of an elite army. You know, it kind of makes sense because we're war fighters. Plus, we're trained, we're not conscripts. But that's just the gist of it, guys. I hope this video has been kind of informative on showing you some different stuff. Or at least a different vein of thought. If you guys have any suggestions, comments, stuff like that, put them in the links below. I sound like, it's so weird me saying that, but just put them in the links below. Any ideas or other games you think that we could definitely visit on a budget. Like there's a lot of other stuff. Go ahead, throw the comment up there. We'll bring you on if we're able to, and we'll go ahead and we'll talk about it. But that was DJ, Guildmaster. Hope this was informative. You guys have a great night. We'll talk to you later.